Now at noon, we are following breaking news. Hamas leaders say they have accepted a deal for a ceasefire after 7 months of war with Israel. Hello and welcome to KCAL News at noon and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles. I'm Amy Johnson. Now, Hamas leaders say they have informed the leaders of Qatar and Egypt that they have accepted the latest offer for a ceasefire in their war with Israel. Israel is reviewing that deal right now. Now, details have not been released, but over the weekend, delegations for both Hamas and Israel held talks in Cairo. During those talks, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said leaving Hamas in charge of Gaza was not an option. An Israeli official says they are examining the ceasefire plan, but warned the Hamas-approved plan differs from an earlier Israeli framework. President Biden says a ceasefire with Hamas is the best way to protect the lives of Israeli hostages held in Gaza. And we have more breaking news here on the UCLA campus. There have been more arrests. Police were called in after protesters were found in a parking garage and inside a university building. We have live team coverage of today's protest at UCLA, beginning with our Luzdelia Caballero, who is in Westwood, where protesters have been marching. Luzdelia.
That's right. They were marching. We ended up arriving on campus when they were near Dodd Hall, and they were making their message clear. They did not want things to run business as usual. And we are talking about professors being inside classes and students being in person learning. And they did just that. Shortly after we arrived on campus, a Bruin alert went out saying classes will be remote for the day. And then that march went from Dodd Hall down these steps right here. This is Bruin Walk, and that goes into the iconic Bruin Plaza, which is where the Bruin Bear resides. And now we are just across the way from Ackerman Union. We are talking about hundreds of students, faculty members, community members arriving here at Bruin Plaza. Now things have dispersed quite a bit, but they were making their message clear that they wanted total divestment from war profiteering and investment in genocide. Earlier, we spoke to one of the students who was a part of the organization that put this march together, and she let us know that many students are in this between a rock and a hard place when it comes to disrupting classes, because at the end of the day, they're students. Take a listen.
We also want to get an education. We also want to learn. So that's not to say I'm happy that classes are canceled, but it's to say that I feel relieved that there's a collective that feels with me that we cannot continue on as normal in our education as if there's not a genocide being, perpetrated in Palestine that we are complicit in. And so we need to stop our education until we address that. And so I did feel some sense of relief, but that doesn't mean that I don't also want to go to class. Of course I do.
And this comes on the heels of UCLA Chancellor Jean Block announcing a newly created Office of Campus Safety Sunday to administer policing and emergency management in the aftermath of campus unrest over pro-Palestinian demonstrations. I mean, we were here on campus just across the way from Royce Hall and Powell Library during those encampments when agitators came over and stormed the pro-Palestinian encampment, and things got very violent. So UCLA is under fire right now, under much scrutiny. Today's march was very peaceful, and on the heels of the new arrests, now we're just waiting to see if this group is going to march again once those who were arrested are released. Reporting live from UCLA, Luzdelia Caballero, KCAL News.
All right, Luzdelia, thank you. And we want to take a closer look at the dozens of people that were arrested early this morning inside that parking structure at UCLA. Assignment Manager Mark Liu live at the desk with that part of the story. Mark.
Yeah, Amy, this is a completely separate group of people that were marching down Bruin Walk and ended up where Luzdelia Caballero was doing her live shot you just saw there. This was before 6 this morning when a large group of people were spotted inside of UCLA parking structure number 2, and UCLA PD went to go investigate. Let me show you some video that was shot a little bit earlier, just after 6. A large group of people were here on the second floor of parking structure 2, which is on the east side of UCLA near Charles Young Drive. Now, there is currently a campus curfew, according to UCLA PD, that says that only students, staff, and faculty can be on campus property between midnight and 6 a.m. So UCLA PD sent officers out here to determine who were these large group of people inside of this parking structure. Well, many of them did not want to identify themselves, so all of them were detained. We later found out that 43 people were taken into custody. The initial charge was delaying an investigation here at this parking structure, but we later learned from UCLA PD that they changed that to conspiracy to commit burglary. Now, UCLA PD hasn't given us any further information about why they believe there was a conspiracy to commit burglary here in the parking structure. But 43 people were handed over to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department for processing and identification. They will be ultimately the agency that will determine whether or not any charges will be filed against these 43 people who were taken away in 2 sheriff's buses to a processing center, very likely the inmate reception center downtown. Now, I want to take you out to my map and show you where all of this went down this morning, including the protest that Luzdelia was at. Parking structure 2 is down here. That's where those arrests were made. But right around that same time in this building here, this is Moore Hall. There was a group of about 80 protesters inside that building before it was slated to open. UCLA PD had to surround that building, tell them all to leave. They did leave. They ended up heading up here to Dodd Hall, where they entered that building around 8 a.m. Now, that school was already in session at that time. There were some classes there, so the students entered. They did chant and protest inside that building, but really no crime committed there, according to UCLA PD. Then they marched down this way, down Bruin Walk, down to Bruin Plaza here, right outside the Ackerman Student Union. And again, UCLA PD says it appears this group of protesters that marched, no crime committed. They're just exercising their First Amendment rights, and they were peaceful during that march. Now, UCLA PD does have extra security on campus, as this is the first day back from the weekend and last week's events involving that encampment. School is in session, classes are in session, but right now protests apparently peaceful on the campus. If there are any more slated later today, that remains to be seen. That is the very latest here from the desk. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you for that. Well, classes are back in session at USC after an encampment was cleared out on campus over the weekend. Police and riot gear moved in early Sunday morning, and the protesters packed up and left. In a statement, USC President Carol Folt said the protesters were harassing people and defacing property. She said, "We will not tolerate illegal encampments of any kind at USC." Well, skycal over the campus of Pomona College in Claremont this morning. A protest encampment has been set up on the stage that will be used for Sunday's graduation ceremony. Now, we reached out to Pomona College, and in a statement, the school said our students, faculty, staff, and alumni hold a range of viewpoints. Throughout the year, college leaders have offered to meet with student protesters and will continue to do so. We will promote safety for all members of our community and pursue our educational mission, considering the full range of viewpoints. Well, police in San Diego have dismantled UC San Diego's Gaza Solidarity encampment. Students were taken away in handcuffs. CBS in San Diego reporting 64 arrests. UCSD police telling them 40 were students, 24 were not affiliated with the university. Shortly after the encampment was broken down, a new group formed across the street around 7 o'clock this morning. As a result, UC San Diego has moved to all remote classes until further notice.